Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, and I'm excited today because we are going to get to talk to a listener who has been on quite a few cruises in her family's career behind them, and we're going to go all the way down to Florida, and I'd like to welcome to the show Carol. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you doing this and taking time out of your day to talk about your experience with Disney and or Disney Cruise Line and some of the other cruises you've been on as well.
Sure, absolutely.
So, talking about it, you and your family are platinum cruisers. How many Disney cruises have you guys actually been on?
Well, I've been on 10.
Okay.
And the kids have actually been on fewer. So the boys and my husband have been on 9. I went on one more than they did. And my daughter's been on 6.
Wow.
Because she's only 5. So.
And are they as excited about cruising as you are?
Yeah, they love it. My husband likes it. Probably doesn't love it as much as I do, but he does really enjoy it. But I definitely love it. And then the kids really love it too.
And which other cruise lines have you guys cruised with besides Disney?
We've been on Norwegian twice and Carnival once, and we've got a second one booked that's coming up.
Okay, where's that go? Is it a Caribbean one, or are you guys going someplace else?
The Carnival one is actually Caribbean. It'll go to Nassau and Freeport, and it goes out of Jacksonville, which is real close to where we live.
Okay. Is that the place that you guys like to cruise out of? But, I mean, I guess being in Florida is fairly easy to get to Port Canaveral, Miami, Tampa, any of those. But is there one that you guys like a little bit better than the others, maybe?
Our favorite is definitely Port Canaveral. I mean, it's only a 2-hour drive from where we are. It's very clean. It's very easy to get in and out of. We have cruised out of Miami as well. We did the Norwegian and 2 or 3 of the Disney ones also out of Miami. And it's fine. It's just, it just feels a lot more crowded. And part of it is just the way that the port's set up and the size, whereas you get a lot more space with Port Canaveral.
Okay.
And then, Jacksonville, we'd love to cruise out of here all the time. It's a 30-minute drive from where we live. It's just that only Carnival goes out of this Jacksonville port.
I've actually never been to Port Canaveral yet. We're hopefully going to go next year, I guess, out of Port Canaveral, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll be excited to kind of see what you guys have seen over the years. It's grown a lot, hasn't it?
It has, yes. So it's definitely busier than when we first started cruising out of there in 2009.
So you've been on 10, and today we're past the season. I was hoping to try and find somebody to talk to before the holiday season came up, but this is going to work out just perfectly because we are going to talk about your experiences on a Halloween cruise, so Halloween on the high seas, and then also a Very Merry Time cruise as well. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Awesome. So go ahead if you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say we'd never done any of the holiday cruises before this past year, so it was really exciting to try something new.
Before we get into the cruise itself, what were you guys hoping to do, or what was exciting about doing it besides just the new stuff? Was there something in particular, or just being on the ship at that time of year, or what were your thoughts?
Well, we really enjoy Halloween. We love dressing up and the trick-or-treating. We've been to Mickey's Not So Scary several times before and really enjoy that at the Magic Kingdom. So we knew that they had some of that on board. We're big Nightmare Before Christmas fans, and so they have like a sing and scream that takes place, and you can meet the characters afterwards. Just some different things that we haven't seen before since we've been on several cruises, and then just seeing all the decor and having some new drinks that were on board as well. We really enjoy Halloween, so we were excited about that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite times of the year, too, and I think Disney does it so well. We were in Disneyland for Halloween this year, and it's just, I love all the pumpkins and just kind of that feel that they kind of put out there. It's kind of a neat time of year.
Yes, very cool.
So, well, let's talk about the cruise itself. Which cruise was this? Which ship, and then where did it leave out of?
So this was the 4-night Bahamian cruise on the Dream, and it left out of Port Canaveral on September 4th.
Okay, and who all was, I think you said this is going to be a girls' trip?
This was our girls' trip, And it was kind of a last spur of the moment type of thing as well. They had a really good price on that week, partly because it was Labor Day week. That encouraged us even more because we didn't have to worry about Monday since we already had that day off. And so it just seemed like a really good time to try it out.
You guys live in Florida, so you can take advantage of Florida residence rates. Did you get that on this one? Or I've never talked to somebody about this. How easy is that to find rates like that, I guess?
So I will say in the beginning when we first started cruising, there were a lot of Florida resident rates. And it was fantastic living in Florida, particularly for the dates in September and October. There'd be quite a few Florida resident rates, even actually November, and then again in January and February. And since then, it's just like we've kind of been seeing with Disney, their demand is so high that they just don't have the cabins available because they don't make them available until usually 60 to 90 days out. So they'll have a good idea of how full the ship is. And then they push those Florida resident rates out at that point. So it is a little bit of a last minute thing, if you will. But being in Florida, it's easier for us to do that, of course.
Right, a little bit last minute. Do they, just out of curiosity, they send emails out to you as a Platinum Cruiser saying, hey, we've got availability on this ship or whatever else? Or is it something you have to go to the website and actually look up yourself?
You do. So
okay.
That's like the little secret is that they make the new cruises available, the ones for Florida residents, each Monday. So I just have it in my calendar to check every single Monday to see what's available and if anything's available and coming up. So
okay, well, that's good to know. So there you go. Every Monday, check for those rates if you're in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing you've been on the Dream before.
We have, yes.
And what type of cabin did you guys book this time?
We ended up with a veranda cabin because that was what the Florida resident rate deal was for, actually. They must have had some additional verandas. And so that's what we booked.
Okay. And so you get on, and before we get into like the Halloween specific stuff that you guys got to do or were able to do, what do you guys like to do when you first get on, since you've done so many cruises? Do you guys go to cabanas? Do you just go hang out by the pool? Do you like to get on early? How do you guys kind of attack it?
I love getting on early. So we try to get the earliest embarkation time that we can. So we get there early and just wait until our number's called. And usually our number's pretty low, partly because of our status. And then also because we've gotten that earliest time possible, essentially. And so then we'll get on board. We used to go to cabanas a lot. That was our go-to place. But now we found it so crazy at cabanas. We really enjoy going down to one of the other restaurants that are open for lunch and just having a sit-down, relaxing lunch. You know, we bring a ton of stuff because we have 3 children.
Yeah.
And it used to be worse when they were babies. So when we'd have all the baby stuff on top of all of that, that would be difficult. And so you're having to push that all around with you. But we always, even to this day, we still bring a stroller because we can put so much of our carry-on stuff with us. And you know, if you're familiar with the Disney alcohol policy, since you are able to bring on a couple bottles of wine or a 6-pack of beer, it's nice to not have to actually lug stuff around. We just set it on the stroller and push it around.
That's a good tip because, sometimes your cabin, obviously a lot of times if you're on early, your cabin's not available right away, so you've got something to hold on to it.
Right. And if you bring one of the foldable ones, just like an umbrella stroller, it's real easy to store it.
Yeah, just put it underneath your bed or something like that, I suppose.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, okay, so now you guys are on a Halloween cruise, and it's going to be a little bit different. I've heard about the tree in the lobby. How was the ship decorated? Was it decorated completely right away, or did it kind of go along as you went?
It was. So the windows had pumpkins all on it. When you walk down the hallway by the restaurants, like going down to Animator's Palette in that area. And then they had the tree out, but it was completely bare. So it just looked like some sticks sitting in the hole in the lobby area. But it wasn't, there's not like so many decorations that if you don't like Halloween, you're going to be upset about it. Nothing's really scary at all. So you don't have to worry about that either with the kids, which is nice.
Yeah, so not too over the top as far as the decorations go, but a good feeling overall.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just enough.
Well, I guess let's talk about the food a little bit. Did they do anything different for the dinners or the lunches or anything like that as far as theming it to
Yeah,
Halloween?
I thought they would, but they didn't. They
Okay.
didn't have anything. They had a few drinks, like spooky drinks that you could order, specialty drinks in some of the bars.
Uh-huh.
But aside from that, they didn't change the menu or anything like that. And I think that's probably one of our biggest disappointments with the Disney cruises is just not changing up the menus as often as they should.
Yeah, that's
We like the food, but it would be nice if they changed it up.
just something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what were some of the activities that you were looking forward to do over the course of the week, besides going to the ports and the pools and whatnot? What were some of the specialty events that you guys were hoping to do?
So we were really excited about the Nightmare Before Christmas Sing and Scream. We really wanted to do that, which is, and I've never been to it, and I can tell you why later, but it basically got canceled because of the hurricane, and we came back early. But I was really looking forward to that and being able to meet the characters at the end. And it's a 3D show, and apparently it's a lot of fun. People enjoy it. The other thing I was really excited about was the masquerade that they do, which is sort of a trick-or-treating that they typically do through the lobby in some various areas down all in that area, down by the shops, etc. And so they'll have different characters dressed up, and the kids can go around and also dress up as well and trick-or-treat. And it's a lot of fun. They have a lot of music going on, and they'll have game areas, etc. So that's a real fun event.
Were you able to do that, or was that something they got canceled as well?
It ended up not getting canceled, but it was kind of weird. They decided at the last minute. This was a very strange cruise. It's very unusual for typically what they have a lot of things already set, and what you can plan out. Well, this time, because of the hurricane, we were supposed to go to Nassau the first day, and they switched it, and we ended up going to Castaway Cay, which was good because I'm not a big Nassau fan personally.
Uh-huh.
And then we ended up completely coming back a day early, and we wouldn't have gone to Nassau, or they canceled Nassau anyhow. So I think they wanted to make sure we at least got to Castaway Cay.
Okay.
I think people would have been much more disappointed if we hadn't gone there. So we basically went to Castaway Cay, a day at sea, and then home.
Okay, so let's maybe attack it that way. So you did get to do the masquerade, and I'm guessing that was at the day at sea. On the day at sea,
it was.
Okay.
They did it at the day at sea, but then they ended up doing it up on deck.
Oh,
which
okay.
was interesting. And they did it. I'm almost positive they switched it to the day we were on Castaway Cay. And so it was kind of hot up there, and people were sweating in their costumes.
Oh, no.
And we were like, why did they do that? And it was just interesting. It was a strange cruise, I guess, that particular one. And even the workers had no idea, or the cast members were really unsure of where it was going to be and when it was going to be. And then they finally made an announcement and just sent everybody up there for some reason. It was still fun. It was just different than what I had heard and seen that had been done in the past.
Did your daughter have fun?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. What did you get dressed up to, or what did you guys dress up as?
No, I did not.
Uh-huh.
I brought a lot of Halloween shirts, though. But there were a lot of adults dressed. There were a lot of families who were all dressed up the same, and that was pretty cool to see all of that, kind of like what they do with Mickey's Not So Scary. But we just chose to just sort of have a little bit of Halloween gear, if you will.
Yeah, it sounds like us too. When we've gone to
Yeah.
to the parks, that is. But so what about Castaway Cay? Did they have that decorated up for Halloween too? Anything special about Castaway Cay?
No, they don't decorate that.
Okay.
They do for Christmas, though, which was really fun. That
Okay.
was really cool.
So I guess just recently we've started flying from Portland to Orlando. So I spent a lot of time in Walt Disney World this last year, and I found it interesting that like at Christmas time, everything is decorated down there, from the resorts to the parks to everything, the buses almost, it seems like. But Halloween, it's a little bit more limited. I thought Halloween would be just as decorated up all over the place, and it sounds like it's kind of the same, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is amazing what they do for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, but it seemed like just like the Magic Kingdom was decorated, and maybe there's a few things here or there in some of the resorts, but for the most part, it was just the Magic Kingdom that was really decorated. So,
Hmm.
did you do anything special on Castaway Key, or what do you guys like to do on Castaway Key? Since I'm guessing you've been there quite a few times.
We have. When I've got the whole family, then our family bike ride is like the bomb. We always do a family bike ride. Everybody loves that and enjoys it. So that's probably one of our highlights. We just like tooling around. But we wait to do that towards the end of the day when a lot of people have already left the island. Typically, we'll set up down on the family beach. We've never gotten a cabana. Maybe we will at some point, but we just have never felt like we needed to do that, I guess. Some people absolutely love them, and I'm sure we'd love it. I'm afraid we'd love it so much we wouldn't want to go back so, without one. So, but, we stay so busy, too, that we're moving around and going from place to place because, like, the kids like to do the water park area that's out there on the one side of the beach, and then they like to go over to where the slides are, and we'll all go on the slides. And then this last time for our December cruise, we did the snorkeling and loved that. It was actually a little chilly at the time of year when we went. The boys didn't seem to mind as much, but me and my daughter got a little bit cold and came back early. But that was a lot of fun to do the snorkeling.
You guys have gone out and seen Mickey and Minnie and all that, I'm guessing, too.
Yeah, we've done that in the past. We tend to not wait for characters very often. We get the pre-reserved tickets for like the princesses for my daughter every time because we just figure we've got the time and we don't have to wait in line. It's a very short wait for them, but typically we don't wait for a lot of the characters.
Okay.
I guess growing up with the characters for so many years and having gone to the park so many times, it's not high on our list for priorities.
No, I totally understand. My kids are terrified of the characters, so it's never even
Wow.
yeah, it's never even been on our bucket list. Our youngest is a huge Star Wars fan, and he really wants to do a Star Wars day at sea, and I think that might be fun. But yeah, they see Mickey and Minnie or Goofy coming the other way, and they turn the other way and run. So it really hasn't been in our
That's
list at all.
hilarious.
I know.
I think our kids grew up with the characters almost because they've seen them since they were babies. So no, when they see them and if they'll see them walking around, and that's actually a cool tip is that a lot of the times some of the characters will come up on like the fourth deck on the outside where the jogging track is and all of that. Particularly on some of the days that you're in port, they'll just come up and be walking around. So we'll get pictures with Mickey. We've done that before if we don't go get off the boat. Goofy tends to be up there quite a bit. So he's just walking around and joking with everybody. And we've seen him at least 3 or 4 times when we've been up there and gotten pictures. So that's kind of a nice, easy way to find them without having to go wait for them.
I think that's kind of the magical part about being on Disney Cruise Line, if you do like the characters, is that they just pop up here and there, and you can actually interact with them for a little bit at a time. So
yeah, we've seen a lot of them that way. That's true on the ship. Like Peter Pan will just be walking by, Chip and Dale. We've gotten Stitch. They're just walking around.
Yeah,
it's nice.
You don't have to wait in line like you do in the parks.
Right,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you can go to the designated times for some of the characters, but yeah, seeing them pop up every once in a while, too, is really cool.
Well, so then you had Castaway Cay, and you guys did the masquerade the night of Castaway Cay. So the next day was a sea day before you headed back to Port Canaveral. What went on then, or did they have any other special activities then for Halloween?
We were actually surprised. I think that they were stressed, and probably a lot of the crew members were stressed as well. So they canceled pretty much most of the activities. It was interesting. They, the pool, of course, and all of that was going full strength, and that was extremely busy. We spent a lot of time up there. But like the Sing and Scream got canceled, and their Haunted Stories at Sea got canceled, which we were looking forward to possibly doing that as well. I think it was just kind of all hands on deck for preparations, if you will. So
it kind of threw them for a loop since everything got changed, and then all of a sudden they're coming back a day early, and everything else.
Right. Well, and people were, you should have seen the lines. They were waiting at least 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours at the guest relations desk just to try to figure out what to do in regards to how to get home, that because they were being brought back a day early, and a lot of them didn't have transportation, and there were no hotels in the area because everybody was
Yeah.
was sold out because of the hurricane, and there were no cars. I mean, it was pretty crazy.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy.
So, I mean, I hesitate to ask this, but since your cruise is cut short a day, did they give you like a voucher or anything for a future cruise? I mean, not for a full cruise, obviously, but did they compensate you guys for in any way?
They did, which I thought was really nice. They gave us 25% off a future cruise.
Oh, okay.
So essentially what they were saying is you lost a day, so, that was 25% of the cost of the cruise, so you'll get 25% off on a future cruise.
Well, that was nice, I guess. Working in the airline industry, they've got some goofy rules, and they can really make people mad sometimes. So I'm glad to see that.
Well, it was interesting. Was it Carnival? No, it might have been Norwegian, but a couple of their ships, they came into port and said you can get off, or you can go back out with the crew and stay out until the hurricane's over.
Huh.
And I was like, man, I wish Disney had done that. I would have taken them up on that offer. I'll go wait out the storm, down by Mexico. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm so sorry that you guys didn't get to do all the things that you wanted to do on this one. Do you think you'll try and rebook another one in the future for Halloween?
An excuse. Yeah, it's an excuse to go on another one. And plus, I felt kind of bad that the boys and my husband didn't get to go and experience it. So, this will be a good way for all of us to see it together. So
definitely. Well, let's, I guess, move on with the holidays then. So from there, you guys had the opportunity to go on a Very Maritime cruise this year as well, didn't you?
We did. So we take one cruise per year, and we've been doing that since 2009. So that's how we've gotten up to our 10. I just had that one additional one that was thrown in there with my sister-in-law and daughter. So this was our annual cruise. We tend to like to do a minimum of 5 days. It's just so short, especially 3 days. It's like we've done 2 of the 3 days in the past, and you feel like you just unpacked and you're packing up again and leaving. So really having at least 5 days, but 7 days is definitely ideal if possible. We booked, and this was our first time to book in December. Oftentimes we'll go, we've gone in May and we've gone in March and September. We tend to stay away from the summers because it's really crowded and kind of crazy and tends to be more expensive. Mm-hmm. There was a pretty decent price actually on the December cruise that we took, which was on December 9th. And we were on the Fantasy, and we really enjoy the Fantasy. It was a Western Caribbean.
Okay. And that was a 5 day, or was it 7?
No, this one was a 7.
Okay.
This was a 7 night. It was a week long.
All right. And so there's 5 of you, and did you guys book a veranda for this one too? Is that the larger family stateroom? Is that what you guys usually get?
Yeah, we do. We tend to, with having 5 of us now, there's only a certain number of rooms that they have that'll accommodate the 5 of us. So we've kind of gone both ways in the past. We've gotten 2 rooms that are adjoining, and we love that, have a little extra space, and the kids almost feel like they have their own room. But for cost reasons, this time we did the 5 altogether.
And did you feel like that was enough space, or did you feel crowded, or what do you guys think?
It's a little crowded, but Disney really does a pretty good job. We've been on the Carnival cruise with the 5 of us, and you should see these rooms. I mean, they are tight, extremely tight. It feels like there's beds everywhere, over you and everywhere. They're just trying to get places for you to sleep in those cabins. But with Disney, I mean, having that bunk that pulls out and the couch that pulls out, once you put everything back too during the day, there's a lot of space with the veranda too. And then they have an additional area beyond where the couch is and the TV, like just before you go outside into the veranda, with a trundle bed that'll pull out, or not a trundle. What are those beds called that come out of the wall?
Murphy bed.
Yeah, Murphy bed. So they have a Murphy bed that pulls down. It's pretty decent space.
How do your kids do with the beds? Is there any fighting over who's going to get to sleep on the top bunk, or are they pretty good about that, or do you guys have to trade off?
Well, so yeah, there's always a little bit of fighting on that one. Everybody wants to go up on the top bunk, but we get them to rotate. So in the past, when some of them were too small to go up there, and we'd tell them, "Nope, sorry, you're too small." But now that they can all go up there, it tends to be everybody wants to rotate. So we'll give them a couple of nights each up on the top bunk.
Yeah, it's always like, I feel like we're going into like severe negotiations every every cruise between the two of ours.
Bet.
Who's going to get to sleep on the top bunk first and all that and whatnot. So, of course, our oldest was a little smarter, and he figured out that if he slept on the top bunk first, he got 4 days, whereas the younger got 3. So on a 7-day cruise.
Oh man, got gypped.
He did. Well, great. So, okay, Very Merry Time Cruise, a little bit different. How was it decorated compared to Halloween? Was it more decorations, or about kind of the same as Halloween?
No, I would say they definitely had a lot more decorations. I mean, you really felt immersed in Christmas. It was very cool. Mm-hmm. Right when you walk on, and of course they announce you and you come on board, you smell the gingerbread. And they built, and you know how they have the gingerbread houses at the various resorts in Orlando? Uh-huh. They have a giant gingerbread house right there in the lobby. Beautifully done, really neat to look at that and get some really nice pictures. And then the tree, which isn't lit yet, they have the tree lighting ceremony that night. But everywhere you go, I mean, there's Christmas decor, there are Christmas trees, like over by Animator's Palette and all little nooks and crannies. There's a lot of decor, and I really enjoy that.
This is going to be a weird question, but did people put lights on their doors? Can they do that? Did they decorate their doors for Christmas, kind of?
A lot of people decorated their doors, and I don't remember seeing lights. Uh-huh. There might have been a couple of people with lights, but I don't really recall that. But a lot of people had stockings out, so instead of them putting out their fish extender stuff, they put stockings out, which was kind of a neat way to do their fish extender.
Well, that's kind of cool. Okay, so what were you guys hoping to do? I'm trying to figure out. There's like so many questions I want to ask you. Like, what's the easy? Let's just start with food. Was there anything different with the menus for Christmas? Did they have like a Christmas type dinner one night per se?
No,
or was it all the same thing?
Don't. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing. They had some different drinks again, but as far as dinner goes, I don't remember seeing anything on there that was different.
And how about the kids clubs themselves? Did they do anything there for the kids, kind of Christmassy? Like, they have like the, bake your cookies day. So would they maybe make some sugar cookies or something like that? Or did they do something different?
They had some various Christmas activities, but they were just kind of scattered throughout the week.
Okay.
Our kids didn't really hit any of them that I can remember because we stay so busy. And they like to go to the kids club, but it's usually for like an hour or two here and there. And now that the boys can both check themselves out, in and out, they love that, being able to do that and going up and getting their own ice cream when they want and then going back down. And, but they have a real good time with that. But the one thing they do have is a gingerbread making session. So you sign up ahead of time and you have to like run onto the ship essentially and get signed up because it fills up super fast. And we missed that. I don't know how we missed the sign up, but I went like maybe an hour or two after we got on board and they said it was already gone. And I checked back a couple of times and nobody had canceled and there were no more openings. So we didn't get to do that, unfortunately.
That's too bad. Well, so good tip there. Something to jump on, I guess.
Yeah, get on there as soon as you can.
So then you talked about the tree lighting ceremony. That was the first night. What did they do for that?
It was a lot of fun. So they have the characters come out. So everybody's in the lobby. And it was nice because they had a space just for the kids all roped off. So all little kids could come and sit down in the front and really get a good view of everything. And then the adults were all kind of standing in the back. Now, of course, you don't have to put your kids up there, but if you wanted to, it was great for the kids. And then from the stairs, you know how they have the stairs that come down from the lobby, and a lot of the times the characters will come down for various shows. The characters sang quite a bit, and then they came down, and then they did a little bit of a show on stage. So they had Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Donald, who are all a part of this. And then at some point to make it look like magic as something hits the tree and lights it up. And then the tree is lit for the remainder of the cruise after they do all of that. But they have it's snow, so it looks like it's snowing in there. And they do a great job with the lighting, as Disney always does, and just making it, really feel special and magical.
I'm just picturing it right now, kind of like warm, holiday feeling with the lit tree in the lobby there. I bet you it was pretty magical.
It was, and they were also serving hot chocolate and cookies, so you could just come up. It was near the gingerbread house, and you could grab your cookies and hot chocolate. And they did that quite a bit throughout the whole week. You could go into the lobby and get some cookies and hot chocolate and smell the great gingerbread house.
Oh, man. You're making me hungry right now thinking about that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So what were some of the other, activities during the week that you guys got to do that were special for Christmas?
So, like I said, I think one of the big things we had wanted to do was the gingerbread house, and they weren't unable to accommodate us there. We just showed up too late. They had a winter wonderland ball, and Santa Claus came out. Honestly, we missed that. I want to say that was our night when we went to Remy, and the kids were in the kids club, so we didn't end up hitting that. They also had like a tropical holiday party, and we came out for that for a little bit, but we didn't stay a whole long time. We always stayed, like I said, extremely busy. So those were probably like their biggest events. There were times that you could go see Santa Claus. We didn't go see Santa Claus. We'd already seen Santa Claus before we had gone on our cruise, so we decided not to see Santa Claus. It was pretty surprising how busy that was, and there were some pretty big lines. I think a lot of people like to bring their kids and put them in their pajamas and get some really cool pictures with Santa, with the backdrop of the lobby and everything and the tree. So I'm sure there's some great pictures from that.
Was the tropical party, was that kind of like a dance party up on the deck, kind of to replace like Pirate Night or something, or did they still have Pirate Night?
Oh no, they still had Pirate Night. We love Pirate Night, so I'm glad they kept that.
Okay.
No, it was just an additional during the day thing.
Okay. So are the characters, and I should have asked this about Halloween too, are they kind of dressed up for Halloween and for Christmas? Are they that way the whole time? Or like, do you see them up on deck in like during the day, like a sea day where they just got their like swimsuit stuff on or something like that?
You see both.
Okay.
So there's times when they're dressed up, and then there's times that they're just in what they're supposed to be in for the day, like at Castaway Cay. So it just depends on when you see them.
Okay.
But that was kind of neat too.
Okay, so you brought up Castaway Cay. Did they do anything special on Castaway Cay for Christmas? Because I think I've seen pictures of like Olaf on the beach or some things like that.
If Olaf was there, we must have missed him. They do have, so you get off and they have a huge tree.
Okay.
And they're shooting, the Florida snow. Or I guess it would be Bahamian snow, like nearby as well, which is kind of cool. The kids like to go and see that. It's a good spot to get some pictures with the background of the island. And then they're playing Christmas Caribbean music throughout Castaway Cay, which is fun. So they'll have, some Jimmy Buffett, and Jimmy Buffett's sang a few songs that are Christmas related. So those will be playing, and, just that kind of music as you walk around. And it's all decorated, just really nice with Christmas decor all the way, even in cookies and all of that area. It's all decorated. So you get like that island Christmas feel, which is fun.
Oh, that's amazing. You lived in Oregon. Have you ever lived up north, or have you always been in Florida besides then?
Well, I was born in Arizona for a year,
okay.
So I guess that wouldn't count. And then lived in Florida pretty much my whole life except a year in Oregon. So,
have you guys ever gone up north for Christmas? Ever done anything crazy like that and said, "Hey, let's just go see the snow"?
The kids have only seen the snow, I think, twice, and one of them was last year. Was probably the one that they remember the most. We went and saw my brother who lives up in Ohio, him and his wife, and it was really fun. They have a beautiful house out there that's just like right near Cuyahoga Valley, if you're familiar with that area, and really enjoyed that. Got to see all the snow, and yeah, that was fun.
Okay. I was just kind of curious about that because my parents moved to Hawaii, and so we spent one Christmas in Hawaii, and it was so cool to be over there. It's a totally different feel than being home here, I guess in Oregon
Oh,
for Christmas.
yeah.
So I was just kind of wondered if somebody from the tropical areas would ever want to come up north for Christmas, I guess. So
Definitely.
yeah.
It's just everybody tends to come down to Florida, so there's nobody left up there.
That's true. Good point there. So, anyways, well, cool. So, how was Remy? I've never been to Remy. I've only been on the classic ship, so we have yet to go on the Dream class ships. How's Remy, since you talked about that?
Oh my gosh, we love Remy, and it's an experience. So the food is amazing, but you really have to go in with it thinking, I am coming to this restaurant that has just this world-class food and world-class service, and the experience overall is just incredible. So I would say, and I know I'll see different people talking about Remy and they're like, oh my goodness, look at how expensive it is. No way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure you're probably getting a meal that would be $350 per person back in the States for that $95 fee. It's just amazing. They'll come out and say, we've imported, this is the finest ham that you can get from Spain, and we've imported it here, and we're using it as our, the beginning appetizer. Just everything is just so amazing that, you wouldn't have an experience too often here in the States at too many restaurants. And with the chefs being 3-star Michelin chefs, it's just a really, really unique experience.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that when we finally sail on the Fantasy next year. But it's kind of, and I know Palo is not quite the same, or it's not the same level as Remy, but for the price at Palo too, you just get such an amazing meal, and it really is kind of a low price for what you're getting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love Palo too. Absolutely.
Overall, did this kind of set the Christmas mood for your family as you kind of sailed with Disney over a very maritime cruise?
It did. And then we really felt excited when we got back. I mean, Christmas was almost there. It's just, we got back on December 16th. So, that week building up, it was awesome. Really, really fun. And so we rebook we used to not always rebook on the ship because the Florida resident rates, you can't get the rebooking deal that you get on board and get the Florida resident rate. But now that they've had so few of Florida resident rate deals that we actually utilize, we tend to still rebook on the ship. And so we've rebooked for December 1st for next year. So we're going to do another Very Merry Time, but this time we're doing Eastern Caribbean. I really like Eastern Caribbean a lot more than Western Caribbean.
Is that because of the ports, or what makes you gravitate towards that?
A couple of reasons. Definitely the ports, but it's also warmer because you're going further south and east. The waters are warmer. It's just warmer in general. And it was actually a little bit cool, and maybe we're wimps because we're Floridians, but it was a little bit cool on Castaway Cay, and certainly the water as well that time of year. But even going to Falmouth was pretty chilly actually the day we went. For Jamaica, which was surprising, it was in the mid 70s and it was sprinkling all day. So for us, that made for a pretty chilly day. And then we never got to dock at Grand Cayman because there was a winter storm that had come through. So it was like in the 70s and windy that day as well. They tried really hard. I mean, not to dock, but to tender us in. They tried, but there was just no way the boats could come up next to the ship and safely bring us on board. So
what do they do on a day like that? Do they stay docked there next to the island, or do they just? It
was another sea day.
Okay, yeah. Do they just end up sailing away and turn it into a sea day for you?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Which we love sea days too, so that was okay. But we've never done the stingray adventure where you go out and you can feed the stingrays and they're all around you. So we were really looking forward to that, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Were you going to do the one with the catamaran? Or
okay. Yep.
So I don't know. I think I told this story before, but we went on the Magic last March, and just the 5-day, and that was the one stop besides Castaway Cay was Grand Cayman, and we'd never been there before, so we signed up for the Stingray tour. So it ended up being a perfect day. We got on the catamaran. It was just amazing. All these kids were up front, and we're sailing away. We get over there, and you can't stand because it's deep, so you actually have to snorkel to get out there and see them. And our kids were just got away from us. They had the snorkeling stuff on, and they jumped right into the water, and they were following the guides and everybody else as fast as they could. So my wife and I are getting ready as fast as we can, and I'm coming down the stairs, and I see our youngest coming the other way as fast as he can. He climbs up the stairs, and he's gone. I'm like, hey, Alex, what are you doing? And he's like, they're trying to get me. And I'm like, no, they're totally friendly. Come on. So long story short, I coax him back in the water. I'm holding his hand, and then I start looking at this stingray. They're huge. And yeah, I mean, they're like the same size as him. And so like, okay, I was like, okay, I got to put it into perspective and really think about the fact that, here's this giant stingray coming at him, and it's the same size as him, if not bigger. So no wonder he was pretty nervous about it. But then he kind of settled down, and that's an amazing experience. I hope you get to do that next time.
I do too. And I had my reservations for that exact reason. I was like, ooh, maybe the kids, especially my youngest, she might get a little nervous. And then what does that mean? Would I spend most of the time on the boat with her? I don't know. But we never got a chance to find out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a lot of fun. So I highly recommend it, because on the way back, I think the captain let each one of the kids go up and drive the boat for a little bit. And it was just a beautiful day out on the water. So
that's so fun. We had, this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago when we went out. It was another Eastern Caribbean. I think it was 3 years ago. And there was this port adventure that we did that was on a sailboat. And there were so few people on the boat. There must have been only 3 or 4 families. And it's seriously probably the best port adventure we've ever done. I'm going to have to look that up and see what the name of it was. But they were awesome. They let them drive the sailboat. And it was just gorgeous. We're going around all these little islands. It was really, really incredible. It was a lot of fun.
Wow, what a magical experience, especially for the kids to be up there driving the boat, I'm sure, too. So
yeah, they got to hoist the sails and do all kinds of stuff. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I guess just to finish up then, how did the cruise end? Did they do anything special like that last night, kind of the good, I forget what it's called. It's the sail away party, and I can't remember what it's called when you leave.
The see you real soon.
See you real soon. Did they do anything special, kind of Christmassy for that at all, or did you guys go to that?
We didn't get to go to that. So, okay. But they said there was some kind of candlelight show that they did with that. So it probably would have been pretty neat to see what the difference was with that. But that's all I know, is that they do something with candles and kind of make it a little bit magical and different. So I'm sure that would be a fun show to see.
Well, you've got another one planned for next year. So
I know. We might have to hit that.
Do you look ahead? Like, I've never really done this before, to be completely honest. Like, looked at the navigators that people put online to see.
We do. Okay. We do that every time.
Do you?
Yeah, we really like to try to get a feel for, like, especially if it's been posted recently, so you have a good idea of just knowing when all the shows are going to be. And that's such a huge help, because then we can plan around our Remy and Palo reservations, depending on what things we don't really care to see. We love the big Broadway shows, like they had Aladdin and Wishes. That was really good. We went to Believe too, so we went to all 3 of those. But we're not as big of a fan of, like, they had Buckets and Boards. And I'm sure it'd be fun. We just tend to that's our nights to do things like Remy and Palo and anything else that we might want to do in the evening instead. So
right, just have that couple time too, right?
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And that's it's so nice now that the kids are a little bit older, and they can go check themselves in like halfway through dinner, and then we get to enjoy the rest of our dinner if we're at the regular dining rooms. And just sit and have a cup of coffee at the end and actually talk like humans. It's awesome. And then we'll typically go to, like, maybe one of the bars in the evening and just have a cocktail while the kids are enjoying the kids club. And it's just, it feels like we get date night every night, which is so unusual for us.
Well, with 3 kids, I mean, you guys are probably going every different direction these days with sports and other activities, I'm sure. So
Oh, yeah. And they're in competitive soccer, so they are super busy.
Yeah, so being able to have a little quiet time, especially on a ship like that, is just kind of a magical experience and something to take advantage of.
It is. It's probably our favorite thing about cruising is the amount of time we get to spend together as a couple. We get tons of family time, which is super awesome, and we love doing that, but we just love being able to say, hey, just a couple of hours at night, we get our time. And that's just awesome.
Yeah, good for you. It sounds just like my wife and I. We like just going up to the Cove Cafe and getting a glass of wine after dinner, and while the kids are playing and just relaxing. So a lot of fun things to do.
Our favorite is Skyline.
Okay.
We love watching. Oh, they don't have that on the older ships.
They don't have that on the older ships. You're right.
But that's an awesome bar. You're going to have to check that out. It's just really cool. They have all these big screens that are all set up across, and it looks like you're looking at a picture of various cities. So they'll have 7 different cities across the world, for instance, Paris, and there'll be the Eiffel Tower, and you can see all the people bustling around, and it's just the whole wall of Paris. And we just sit there and we find, a little spot for us to hang out and watch, and then they'll go on to the next city, and then you get to see that city in detail and all the stuff going on, and it's just a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, I got a smile on my face thinking about it, so I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, good for you. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Carol. I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us all about your guys' experience on the Very Maritime Cruise and Halloween on the High Seas. And I'm sorry that one didn't quite work out the way you wanted to this time, but hopefully next time you get a chance and it'll get to do all those experiences.
Definitely. We'll bring everybody that time.
Awesome. Well, and if you don't mind, I would love to have you come back on the show and kind of pick your brain a little bit more, since you've been on so many different cruises, and kind of, get a feel for maybe how we can do things a little bit better and our listeners can do things a little bit better for theirs coming up.
Sure thing. I'd love to.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, Carol.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. I really want to thank Carol once again for coming on and taking time out of her day to share her experiences as her and her family sailed with Disney Cruise Line over Halloween and Christmas. Just a magical time to be out on the water sailing with Disney Cruise Line. If you've been enjoying listening to what you've heard here today, we would love it if you know somebody else that would enjoy our show, if you'd pass it on to them and let them know a little bit about our podcast. That helps us get the word out to the Disney community and those who are interested in Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and just travel in general. And if you would like to come on the show and share your experiences, please drop us a message on Facebook. That's at DCL Podcast, or you can also reach out to me on Twitter at DCL Podcast. You can always find Christy as well at her Facebook page, Pack YOUR, Pack Your Pixie Dust, and on Twitter, Pack YR Pixie Dust. And you can always go to her travel page as well, packyourpixiedust.com, and reach out to her as well. So between now and our next show, if you're going to be heading out on your next trip, all of us here at the DCL Podcast would like to wish you fair winds and have a safe journey as you head out on your next adventure. We'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast.